That's true. And we're almost live. 3, 2, 1. I'm sure it's gonna tell me that too. Oh, good. That's a great way to start the video. Holy shit! I don't know if you saw.
No. I'm the host now. That's a bad idea. Nope. You've disappeared.
Hey, you there?
Yep.
Cool.
Now I have no picture at all.
Well,
Neither do you.
Well, I hit the wrong button.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, I literally, oh shit! I was saying that's a great video. To start the video, it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna go black for like 30 seconds. We got video for you.
We got video. We're moving.
Okay, I really don't care if we're live right now because of that, but like the video is seriously is me scratching my eye for like 3 seconds. So it's that. So I think we're good. Anyway, hi everyone, welcome back to the show, and like this is the MG Professor show officially now because like I've had 2 other shows this week, and the other one, yesterday's show was great. The other day's was pretty good too. The last night's one was interesting. I mean, like I talked to Shane Helm. We've had him on the show before, like Draft Guy and all that.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, like, and like, mind you, I had the craziest Wednesday ever. Before we get into like what we're gonna talk about tonight, I literally worked from 3 to 1:30 in the afternoon, 3 a.m. to 1:30 in the afternoon.
Whew.
I had a doctor's appointment at 2, and then I had a haircut at 3:30, and then I did not nap in between the haircut and my podcast. What I do with Shane.
Do you just survive on like 5-hour energies? How did you not take a nap?
I have not had caffeine in 5 weeks.
Wow.
I am a cyborg, apparently.
Yeah.
By the way,
now I get what you meant when you said about being superhuman.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was like literally like the podcast by was at 8:00 at night.
So you were essentially up from 3 a.m. to what, like 10 p.m.? 11?
And did it again this morning.
Jeez.
And oh, by the way, and I buzzed the night before. I went to bed at 11:30 and woke up at 1:45.
Get some sleep.
Why?
Scientists say that you need it.
Oh, okay.
6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, I get maybe 3 if I'm lucky.
You get like 6 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I get actually funny you mention this, and I shouldn't say this on air. I know my boss is not listening. My current boss, I should say. But I had an interview on last Friday. I got my new job. I'm happy. Different place. Like I'm starting a new job. I think in like 2.5 weeks. It's 7:30 to 4. I did an interview when she told me the hours. I'm like, I can sleep for an extra 3 hours.
Yeah, but you won't.
Well, probably.
You can, but you won't.
I told my therapist. I mean, I can go to bed at 4 a.m. and wake up at 6:30. Yes. She's like, please don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Now that we got that bullshit out of the way. Yeah.
Yes, we apologize for the technical difficulties for which this began.
But
these were an hour late and a frozen screen, and it was all kinds of trouble.
There will be memes, people. There will be memes.
There is an image. There will be memes. Trust me.
Mary Louise, the new queen of meme.
Make me go viral. That's all I want.
Yeah, the big hell's this girl? Like, she's
for
like
my punishment to be ordained.
The best thing is if I actually do the one we talk about with the WTF and actually write it out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and I say like, who the hell's the girl? I'm like, she's like the nicest, polite person in the world, which makes it even better.
It was a bad day. Had to do a whole pack of these bad boys.
Well, those are like $12 in New York State. You should be careful with those. Good thing you're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Insane. Yeah, we're sponsored by Lucky Lights. Lucky Lights, Candy cigarettes, and Truly iced tea. That is the beverage of the evening.
I was drinking Wegmans Dragon Fruit Berry Seltzer earlier. And
there you go.
I was
Wegmans,
hoping to
pay us money.
Yes.
We'll advertise your brand.
Danny Wegman, Colleen Wegman, we will advertise your brand every show. We will be like The Office, but better. Anyway, so we got to talk about this is gonna be a really easy show, everyone. It's only about 2 topics. I mean, yeah, granted, kickoffs in like 40 minutes. But it's okay. I mean, it's the Cowboys and the Buccaneers, and I don't expect this game to be close, so it's okay. Like if I've asked my friends at work, is Dak Prescott going to die tonight?
I hope so. I'm playing against him in one of my fantasy leagues.
How would you start him against Tampa Bay's defense? Do they have like Jeff George as his backup quarterback, or like Y.A. Tittle or something? Jesus.
I don't know who the backup quarterback is. I mean, he's still projected to get like 20 points.
Where? So. He has no offensive line.
Yeah, 3 fantasy leagues.
Every star's back on the Tampa Bay defense. I'm just looking like, yeah, he's gonna be 20 divided by like what 20. I mean, Jesus, it's like I'm just seeing like, okay, Tampa Bay's all defense is back. Like the Dallas Cowboys offense line's in shambles right now, and Dak's.
I don't know. People think that Dak is, gonna come back and be amazing now.
Yeah, guys. He only came off a broken leg like a year ago, and like, he's had the shoulder injuries. They could linger all year. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I've ruined enough of my body to know that's not good. Anyway, so we're going to start with the lovely Doring pay-per-view that's considered probably the best pay-per-view since probably SummerSlam 2002 to according to everyone. Because, I mean, including I'm surprised Meltzer didn't give 7 6-star matches on that nights.
Yeah, I mean, if you're putting aside the big, debuts and everything, match quality wise, it was a well put together card. So it's really not surprising that it, kind of didn't fail to exceed expectations. Everybody like the Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers is getting insanely high reviews. I don't know if the card's been rated yet, but I imagine that's gonna go for 6.
I mean, my thoughts on Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, you're not getting that Brock Lesnar match.
God damn it, why not?
Because Brock Lesnar has a man bun now, and he's in WWE, and he's a good guy. So
he would still do it to the Young Bucks because they're the Young Bucks. I think he outweighs them by himself. I still do.
What, 1 Brock Lesnar equals 2?
Like 4 Young Bucks, 5 Young Bucks.
Not that many. Not even close.
They're not that big of guys.
No, but they're probably still going like 180.
But they're like 5'5". Like I think it was what's his name?
They're definitely taller than 5'5".
They're really not.
I don't want to open up a window to check, but they're definitely taller than 5'5". You want me to do it on my phone? Secondary device.
Yeah, those are build heights. Remember, it's like I think what's the name? I think it was Brian Alvarez one time said he thought they were like Karen Kurt's kids.
Young Bucks height.
I think they're probably like 5'10", but like still like.
So 5'10" is the one, and 5'11" is the other.
So they're 5'8" and 5'9". Got it. Because remember they wrestle with the boots and the padding and all that on.
True.
Like I bet you they're really like 5'8".
Cody Rhodes is 6'1".
Well, and he still uses focus data, so screw him. Anyway, so like yeah, like I say, from everything that I'm reviewing the match quality for AEW, it's gonna be great. Like it's not just because it's like, it's anti-WWE. It was just a great show.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, and then we had 2 huge debuts to say this way, and we talked about off air briefly how I didn't like the fact that they debuted both of them and then same show.
So I mean, we'll kind of take it back a little bit because we actually have not been on air since CM Punk showed up again in wrestling. Due to variety of circumstances. But, they debuted Punk maybe, 2 weeks ago?
Sounds right.
So that was big. And it was one of those
It was smart to do in Chicago.
It was absolutely smart to do in Chicago. But it was one of those things that was so interesting because you knew it was going to happen. You absolutely 100% knew. It was not a secret. It was wrestling's worst kept secret.
Yes.
And yet it still delivered on this huge pop, on this huge emotional reaction. Well, I mean, like people that I know who hadn't watched wrestling in a long time are like, CM Punk's back, I'm going to watch wrestling again. Like he does that. He is a needle mover. He's a game changer. They peaked over 1 million in ratings for his appearance. Granted, they're in a Friday night at 10 p.m. time slot. So even to get like 800,000 would have been impressive, but to go 1.2, which I think is what they did.
I mean, not to downplay it, but I think SmackDown's going to blow it out of the water tomorrow night.
But the thing is, they're different. It's hard to compare because SmackDown has a more favorable time slot and they're on a national network.
Well, I'm saying tomorrow. I just meant tomorrow night because it's going to be the 9/11 special.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, if people are
and it's
watching it for that, then the MSG thing is big. But from what I've heard, they're not necessarily planning anything special for it. I don't think I buy that, especially now. If they weren't planning anything special before, I'm sure the second that Bryan Danielson showed up in AEW, they got on the phones and called everybody that they could think of.
I'm still surprised they couldn't get Final Countdown for a song. They tried, they just couldn't get the rights to it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I think they were just. I think that's another reason why that's my thoughts why they should wait it on Danielson for that reason. Waiting for like what's it called, Grand Slam, and had to do it there because they could have actually had time to Dave get the rights to the song. I mean, granted, they still can get it, but still, as the debut, have been great.
Oh, sure, but like AEW has this thing of they have to have big moments at their pay-per-view. And I think they probably self-evaluated it and said to themselves, like, yeah, Adam Cole is great that we're getting him, but Adam Cole is not a Daniel Bryan. You know, Adam Cole is more akin to them getting a Miro, for example. So, like, it's a guy that fans like coming over from the other brand, but Adam Cole alone is not going to be this big star. He's not going to move numbers. You know, he is there because he is friends with the EVPs. Like, and his girlfriend or fiance or wife or whatever
I think is
one of their top women stars. So, like, it was pretty obvious that he was going there.
I don't think it was as obvious because it sounds like him and Vince actually had a really good conversation though.
They tried. They tried to get him to go back for, I don't know what kind of money they were offering him or what kind of creative freedom they were offering him.
I wonder if they offered his Twitch channel.
The ability to still use Twitch. Yeah, like I don't know what was going on there.
I mean, he even said he'll miss doing up, down, down though. Like, I mean, like he's like, and it seems like him and Danielson at least broke up on good terms.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and Daniel Bryan, I'm going to keep calling him Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, the primary reason why he left is because he wants to wrestle in Japan. And that was not an option in WWE. There's no partnership. There's no working relationship with New Japan. They had talked about one, and that was probably specifically based on knowing that he was going to leave, but they weren't able to, you know, sort of put all the pieces together. And he wants to wrestle in Japan. Like, you will see him probably wrestle in a G1 at some point.
In the Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, you will see him at Wrestle Kingdom. You will see him face guys like Kenta, like Okada. You know, like that's what he
said his name
wrong.
You have to yell Kenta or it doesn't count. It's like you have to roll the R in French Revolution or it doesn't count either. You know, like French Revolution. If you don't say it that way, it doesn't count. Or the other thing you have to do is you also have to do the Dr. Evil voice for the Elimination Chamber. You know, the Elimination Chamber, or it doesn't count.
Okay, sure. I'll just leave you with that, with your weird sounding words and whatnot. But yeah, so he wants to wrestle those guys, and he wants to wrestle in Japan. You know, he probably wants to wrestle Will Ospreay too. So there's this whole, you know, not to say that he wouldn't have chosen AEW anyway, but I think if Japan wasn't what he wanted, I think he probably stays in WWE. I think he stays there doing what he's doing. He was happy there. I mean, they gave him everything that he wanted. He was on their creative team. He was able to wrestle part-time. You know, he wants to spend more time with his kids, with his family. He was able to do that. So I definitely think it's the Japan caveat is really what brought him over. You know, and he is a star. He's a big name. He's somebody that is, you know, AEW is going to benefit from having. But you get to a point, though, with this promotion, and I don't necessarily want to call it a concern, but it's something to start paying attention to, is they keep signing people who probably should hold their world championship, but probably won't. Because they have so many guys.
That was my next question to you. It was like, we talked about off air too, because there's talk about him signing, you know, Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen. He'll probably go under it'll probably be El Generico for Sami Zayn. I mean, because obviously he can't use Sami Zayn. They'll probably or he may even wrestle under his real name. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but stuff like that.
He's still saving the orphans.
Yes. But anyway, I digress. I was gonna say the thing though is, if you sign those two guys too, how do you book all these guys?
Right. The thing is, I mean, and
you need another title. Like you need 2 or 3 more titles.
So,
I get the singles titles though.
One of the pros to what AEW does is they do rely a lot on factions. They have a lot of guys in a lot of groups, and for the large part, they've booked those groups pretty well. Like Dark Order has turned into like this great, fantastic act. Everybody loved the Dark Order. You had the Inner Circle, which pretty much carried the first couple years, of AEW with Jericho. You have the Pinnacle now with MJF. You have these other sort of groups, and the Elite and whatnot. But like, it's that idea of when you can put people in factions, it allows you to have more people involved without having them directly involved. So like Kenny Omega is champion, nobody else in the Elite is going to go for his title. When Jericho was champion, nobody in the Inner Circle is going to go for his title. So you can kind of hide that a little bit, but they're getting to the point where, they've talked about trios titles. I think they absolutely need trios belts.
And that's great.
Yeah, but like you said, they also need another sort of mid-card title, not to devalue what they have, but simply because they have too much talent. And you can't
it's too much top end talent.
Right. Yeah, like mid-card and above. You can't have like 1 month title reigns for everybody. And the way that they book their world title, they have had 3 champions. 3 champions in a little over a 3-year existence.
And it's great.
It is great, but like you look at all the names who are there, you look at the people who, fans want to win the world title, and then you have guys like CM Punk, you have guys like Daniel Bryan. Tony Khan has said Hangman Page is still a really big priority for them to tell that story, and I think that's part of the reason why Kenny Omega is going to hold on to the title. It doesn't, at this point, it doesn't make sense. CM Punk does not immediately have to interject into the picture. You can temporarily distract Daniel Bryan by having him go against these other members of the Elite. Like Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole is probably going to happen very soon. If not at Grand Slam, that might be sort of a Dynamite or Rampage near you. But they have so many options with what they can do, and they have so many top-level players that it's just hard to imagine everybody being satisfied. Like right now, they're protected. They're protected in a bubble of criticism where people will not say a bad word about what they do and how they book because they are the competition. But a lot of the things that they might end up doing now that they're so top heavy, it's kind of like, well, that's what WWE did and you screamed and hollered at them for doing it. Why is it that AEW has this bulletproof shield? So
because
there's definitely right, but I don't think that's going to last forever. I think that's only going to last for so long. They are in such a sweet spot right now. They've done everything that fans wanted.
They're still in the honeymoon phase.
CM Punk out of retirement. Like that alone is enough to give them a gold star that will buy them.
Punk was considering WWE. Apparently,
he was.
Still,
he was, but too much. I think. Baggage
history
was what he had said. Yeah, it might have been history that he had said was the reason why he couldn't go back there. But I mean, I don't think AEW is going to be bulletproof forever, especially as they settle down, because they're going to get to a point where they have to, and it's not to say their matches aren't good, because their matches are, but that's what their focus is going to be. Their focus is going to be the booking. Their focus is going to be the matches. It's not going to be on the big who's going to debut at this pay-per-view. Like there's going to come a time where they can't rely on that anymore, because that novelty, you pretty much got the biggest novelty there is in CM Punk. Short of The Rock showing up in AEW, short of John Cena showing up in AEW, like there really isn't a bigger name at this point than the unretirement of CM Punk that would qualify as far as bringing in these big names.
Like I said, I mean, we talked about the area of the. I mean, I just thought of it because I'm not that dumb. Like, could Wyndham Rotunda debut at like Grand Slam?
There's been talk.
Absolutely there has. I mean, someone said, and I mean, you got to use.
They claim they don't want everybody that leaves WWE, but look at the track record.
Yeah, it's like they're becoming NWA TNA quickly.
Yeah, the difference is though, at least
people
now,
buy their pay-per-views,
that they have better management. That they, it's not Vince Russo and Hulk Hogan trying to run the show. Like, they actually have knowledgeable people in place.
Well, it helps you. I mean, and I'm not trying to be jaded about it. It's like you help save if a billionaire backing it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, in a sense, like, I mean, that's one thing that was the downfall of probably TNA to begin with, was it was Jeff and Jerry Jarrett, and they were trying to start with like $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tony Khan's money flows, and it will flow almost endlessly.
Well, it helps that he gets, like, with his dad having a couple bucks.
Yeah.
Like Shad Khan, like, I mean, he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I mean, geez, I mean, like I said, jokingly off air, but it's the truth. Is like the difference between the AEW and the NFL is like at least Shad Khan will get his money back in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, this is Tony's pet project, basically, and so far it has been a rousing success, for wrestling fans. But what comes next? They, in terms of an on-screen product, they are blowing WWE out of the water right now. That's all fine and good, but they are not the conglomerate. They are not the mega giant that WWE is. They do not have their hands in movies. They do not have their hand. And that's not to say that they won't. They're still young. They have tons of room to grow. They're working on a video game. There's talk of them getting a streaming service pretty soon. So, there is room for them to grow. But it's still, you are competing with the biggest fish in the pond, and that fish has been the biggest fish in the pond for a long time for a lot of good reasons. If Vince feels that his empire is threatened, we will see him do some things that are unexpected. Whether that means partnerships with other promotions, whether that means, like letting guys work multiple places, whatever the case might be, you will start to, whatever it takes for him not to lose. I don't think he has it in him to lose, or, he will do it or die trying, basically, at this point.
Yeah, and he's always been like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's not going to change. He's going to continue to say AEW is not competition, to the public externally, but he's going to do things that ensure that his empire remains on top. And, like, look at what they're doing with NXT right now. NXT was a money drain. They were not making money on NXT. A lot of times the people that would go to NXT would come up to the main roster and they wouldn't get over. They wouldn't get booked well anyway. So he's kind of taken the approach like, fine, we're going to go back to bare bones. We're going to go back to making this developmental. We're not signing guys who are older. We're not signing, the affectionately termed vanilla midgets. Like, that's not happening anymore. He wants guys who he feels look the part, act the part, wrestle the part, and can be TV ready, not be down there on a promotion for 4 years. Like, NXT was never meant to be that. It was never meant to be a third brand. And they've now completely moved away from that mantra. And it's like, for all the people that thought that kind of Triple H was there, he was, ready to kind of take over. I don't think it's as cut and dry as that. He and Vince still have their very strong philosophical differences about how to run this company. And I don't think you'll see Triple H kind of get to impart that until Vince is actually in the ground.
Yeah, I agree. 100% on that. So speaking of AEW, we talked about this off air. Is like I would say the biggest controversial wrestling news of the week, if not longer, with the PWI rankings of naming Kenny Omega number 1. I mean, Grant, he's a phenomenal wrestler. He's probably number 2.
Yeah, I would say.
But there is no greater heel in wrestling in the world.
Oh yeah.
Than Mr. Joseph Nanae, aka Mr. Roman Reigns.
And if you just flat out compare resumes, because PWI is based on like kayfabe, it is based on wins and losses. It is based on,
wins and Roman lost.
Sort of. That's exactly my point. Roman Reigns has not lost
since SummerSlam last year.
Match since whenever it was before he came back. Basically, it would have been that.
before he took the leave of absence. Yeah, it's like
because when he came back, he won the title on his first night, and he
hasn't lost.
He may have lost in like tag team matches or something like that. But even then,
I don't think you
point to that. Yeah, without pulling up his cage match profile, I can't definitively point to that. But no one has, like you said, he is the top heel in wrestling right now, and it is not even close. The only potential argument that you could make for putting Kenny Omega over Roman Reigns is that Kenny Omega worked multiple promotions. And if you are weighting that above, some other factor, then yes, you put him in there because he was appearing on Impact
AAA.
and Dynamite and AAA, and like he was working multiple promotions. Was he wrestling all that much on those promotions? No, but he was a consistent presence, and his sort of championship holding of their championships was a big storyline that was followed. To me, I still don't prioritize that over Roman Reigns. I think what Roman Reigns has done in the last year has been nothing short of spectacular. I mean, that guy went from somebody that fans couldn't stand to now they are booing him for all the right reasons. They're booing him because he is being an absolute asshole. And that's what the character is. Like, he is the character that he's playing you are supposed to boo. He's not trying to be the hero. He's not trying to be the babyface. The angles that they did
they're not trying to force him to be heel.
Then the angle that they did with Jimmy Uso. I mean, the stories that they have told, it has been the best booked storyline in wrestling. And hands down, one of the only well-booked storylines in WWE over the past several months. They've just found something with Roman, and he's found something within himself.
Well, it helps. Good, bad, good face, heel, doesn't matter. He looks a part of a pro wrestler.
Oh, he does. He absolutely does.
He's a human action figure. It's like John Cena. Like, if they turn John Cena into like a heel and they can do what his off the cuff promos when you do the rap stuff, he would be it'd be the same thing. I mean,
oh yeah. Yeah, because John Cena, even as a face, was always cocky and, like kind of towed that line between heel and face on more than one occasion. But, the decision to go all in on Roman being a heel is the smartest thing that this company has done in a very long time. It has been...
And it wasn't too little too late. That's the best part.
It was not too little too late. It was close to the point where, you could have run out of your goodwill. But I think the fact that he was coming off of not injury per se, but he's not that far removed from, the leukemia thing, which really changed his profile with a lot of fans. They still did not like Roman Reigns, the character, but Joe Anoa'i, the person, like there was this breaking of sort of kayfabe, and, the fact that when he gave that promo, he was like, my name is Joe. Like, he spoke to the people as himself. So, I think there was that sort of goodwill coming, and then he had missed the time, due to COVID because his wife had just had the babies and he didn't want to risk getting sick with, having been in remission and all of that. So when he came back, it was a good situation sort of for everybody. And I don't think necessarily people expected him to come back as a heel. I think that was probably the best part of it. Like,
yeah,
they came back and destroyed everything, and then they paired him with Paul Heyman. And
he didn't destroy he did not destroy anything. He wrecked everything and left. Get it right.
He wrecked everything. Yes, my apologies for using the wrong word.
Yeah, it's on a T-shirt with 2 T-shirts, and I do own the black one.
It's a nice shirt.
It is. It's good for work. It's inspiring.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, just everything that they've done with his return has been. I wouldn't change a thing. And that's very rare to be able to say that in any wrestling storyline where that everything has had a purpose. It's been done well. The way that they operated around Jimmy Uso being injured, and they elevated Jey Uso to a position that I don't think anybody ever expected that man was capable of. But he is a main event singles wrestler. You can't tell me otherwise after what he spent part of the last year doing. Like, it's great that they're doing the tag team thing again, but he can be a main event singles wrestler. And it's just not something that you would have expected. But they ran with that angle. He was the perfect first opponent for Reigns. It worked. They continued to carry it over with his brother, but in a way that was fresh and unique. I just don't understand how you know, and even quality of win, quality of opponent. Kenny Omega defended his title against like Orange Cassidy. No offense, Orange Cassidy, but you were not John Cena. Like,
you're not Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, exactly. You're not Daniel Bryan. You're not Kevin Owens. Like,
you're not Edge.
The list of people that Roman defeated is of a higher quality than I would say who Kenny defeated.
Yeah, it's like if Roman was allowed to go to AAA, you don't think he'd be the AAA champion too?
Yeah, he could go wherever he wanted and just wreck everything and leave.
Yeah, and literally, I mean, that I'm surprised that they. I mean, I wish they could do that. Like, if they could get a deal with like New Japan or even like AAA, even though, you know, AEW's got it, but it's like having him just come in and just kick the shit out of everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's still a stubbornness there on the part of WWE, but it would not surprise me.
It would work with the character.
It would not surprise me if that sort of loosens, you know, especially if that's the reason why they're losing some wrestlers. It's not the reason why they're losing every wrestler. You know, some people are just sick of sort of being there and the, you know, the creative and all those kind of things. But, but if you're losing people solely because they want to wrestle elsewhere, you need to look at that and say, is it worth it? Is it worth keeping our autonomy to have a guy like Daniel Bryan, who otherwise may have stayed?
I mean, the crazier thing would be like, hey, WWE makes a partnership with the NWA. Like, hell has frozen over.
So the NWA is.
I know
terrible.
it's. I know, but like
it's awful.
But honestly, though, like their video package to hype up their pay-per-view was amazing. The show was amazing.
Yeah, no, they do decent video work, but like their wrestlers are terrible. Their matches are largely terrible. I do not need to see Roman Reigns versus Nick Aldis. No.
Well, Nick Aldis isn't their champion anymore.
Even still, he was champion for 3,000 days. Well, wasn't actually that many, but it was over,
3 years.
It was over. It may have been over 1,000 days.
It was just over 3 years.
I don't know if who's the champion now.
Trevor Murdoch, and I'm not kidding you.
Of all the people that they could have had beat him,
I mean, it's better than Ric Flair.
I guess they wanted one of their own guys. No, it is absolutely not better than Ric Flair. Ric Flair was my pick. I wanted Ric Flair, some bitch. I wanted him to win the NWA championship.
Could you imagine if they? I mean, if they do a show in Charlotte, they should do that.
They should do it because at this point, their title is not. How do I put this? Their title is not as prestigious as the NWA title's lineage implies that it would be. If you do a shock title change to Ric Flair, who just so happens to, you know, woo, and then he stands on a guy and, you know, does whatever his 80-something-year-old self can still do.
73.
He's lived the life of an 80-year-old, so.
He's lived the life of a 165-year-old.
Yes, very true. Very true.
But I say,
longest line, shortest ride.
Yeah.
4 ex-wives later.
Well, 3. No, I think he's still married to Wendy, or still dating her, or whatever. The creepy thing is, like, you know who she is, right?
No.
If you ever watch, if you saw the network, correct?
Yes.
Watch a Flair.
Peacock.
Well, you know what I mean. Watch a Flair for the Gold.
Okay.
Like his WCW promo. He has a little French maid named Fifi, and it's her.
Oh, really? That's his current wife?
Yeah, it's hilarious because he mentions like, yeah, it's like because like someone if he was in a table for 3, he's like, someone mentioned he's like, do you remember that girl Fifi? Like one like other wrestlers mentions like he casually goes, yeah, I'm dating her now. I think the guys look like, fuck, really?
But
yeah, that's the wrestling talk. I mean, like, there's not much else. I mean, AEW happened, and I'm proud of them, probably a huge explosion. But like, I want to see what they do with it. Like I said, like the honeymoon's gonna be over. I mean,
right.
Yeah, you have 3 years, but
raising your own bar. At some point, you have to stay where you are and establish yourself and establish your content.
Yeah, no shock and awe. No more. They should minimize the shock and awe. Like I said, maybe.
Yeah, you can't have people going into every pay-per-view thinking that there's going to be something big happening. I mean, they only do 4 a year. So they do benefit from not having a pay-per-view every month that they have to do shock and all. But still, it's like, okay, if All Out is your marquee pay-per-view, and it seems that it is, that's where you pull out all the stops. That's where you do WrestleMania type stuff. If you consider one to be like SummerSlam-esque or Survivor Series-esque, that's when you pull out all the stops. But like, I don't need to see these big things happening at like Fyter Fest or Full Gear. Like, no.
Yeah.
Can't keep doing it, because the thing is too, you have hit the peak. Like I said, with the exception of like a John Cena or a Rock or a unretirement of Steve Austin, like there's nobody that you will bring in that hits fans on a higher level than CM Punk. So like even like Daniel Bryan, that was great. People are excited, people are happy, but Daniel Bryan does not hit the level of CM Punk. No one that they can bring in at this point will hit that level. So if you, again, your bar is here, you get to a point where you can't raise that bar anymore. And that's when you have to start not relying on that and being able to profit off of what you have and not what you're expecting to do or what you're hoping to do. Or,
otherwise
like, WWE's releasing this guy, next month. He's gonna be. Yep, exactly. So.
Yeah, I mean, I still stand by saying Jim Cornette's theory about The Rock to AEW. That he's not going there to buy it. Because that's the only way he'd ever show up in AEW.
Yeah. Oh yeah, people like The Rock, John Cena, Brock Lesnar probably could be enticed into it, but no one's gonna give him the kind of money to do the little bit of work that he does the way that Vince does.
I think the Khans would.
I don't know. I don't know because to them, do they need a Brock Lesnar?
I'd say,
like, do they need a part-time guy who's only going to wrestle for them 5 or 6 times a year?
I would say if they booked him right, yes.
You just want him in there so that he can defeat the Young Bucks in a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Handicap death match.
That will never be booked.
The greatest match of all time.
Unless you are the anonymous, Dynamite general manager in 1 week.
I will text Mookie right now. Make this happen.
Do it. Text him right now. Text him just out of curiosity. I want to hear his thoughts on your idea.
I mean,
you'll be like, I'm gonna pitch you an idea. I promise I won't ever pitch you a booking idea again. But just hear me out on this one. I think this one's really gonna make some money.
I think he'd come back. I think when he comes back in 2 weeks, was it 20 days? Sorry, 20 days. And probably try to kick my ass. And he's the most passive.
Vacation?
No. AEW's coming to Rochester.
Oh.
Like he'll come back. I'm gonna ask him if he could want to do something before the show.
Nice.
But anyway, like I was saying, though, like what the hell was I gonna say? Oh, it's like AEW needs to stop like right now, like bringing WWE guys in and like just work on your own, like establish your brand. This is what we are. Yes,
work on your women's division.
Yes, and they've always been struggling with it. It's like
they keep bringing in these women, and then they just.
I no problem with Ruby. It's Ruby Soho, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I no problem with that. I mean, but it's like.
Yeah, I think she's a great addition. Now make it work.
Yeah, it's like you only have like. Wait, how long is Rampage on for? It's 1 hour, right?
Rampage is an hour. Dynamite is 2 hours. Dark is however long they want it to be. Dark Elevation is however long they want it to be. They got freaking 4 shows now.
But those 2 shows.
2 of them are on TV.
Yeah, so the other 2 are on YouTube, correct?
Yeah, the other 2 on YouTube.
Yeah, so you can't like really do anything big on Dark per se.
Yeah, that's where you put. I mean, that's where they. Previously during COVID and everything, that's where they had all their local talent basically wrestle. But before that was where a lot of your lower to mid card talent would go on and get work, and the women would get work, the tags would get work.
So you have 3 hours to show this much talent. How you can do it every week?
You can't. People already complain that women aren't getting enough time on Dynamite, and there are elements of AEW that they can fix. And I think if they focused on that as opposed to every big name in the book having to come there, go there, have a really fun like 2-month run, and then what happens?
Yeah, I mean that's my question. Like, I mean, I guess Danielson's got probably the luxury of like he's probably on at best a part-time deal.
I would think so. I mean, especially given that he wants to work Japan, I think he'll spend more time over there probably than AEW.
What I'm saying though is he's got the luxury of doing that. He can become special attraction. He becomes like a 5'8" Andre the Giant.
Yeah, like a Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, except for he doesn't show up in like New Japan. He like, well, that's what I'm saying though. Is like someone like Danielson would be able to do that. He's probably got it in his contract, but someone like Punk, who sounds like he wants to wrestle like weekly.
He does. He full time, which I was surprised to hear that he's on a full-time deal.
Which my problem with that is, like I said, okay, you got him on every week, and he's the most over guy in wrestling right now.
Right, but here's the issue too with him being on every week. He has not wrestled in 7 years. Even when he did wrestle, you know, we look at everything a certain way. Where the talent is now, that's like people saying, like, you know, if you were to bring Michael Jordan out of retirement, and he has to be the age he is now, playing some of the best young guys in the game, he's still going to be Michael Jordan, but the game has passed him by. Even LeBron. A lot of athletes, the game has passed them by. And you look at a guy like CM Punk, where when he was at the top of his game, there weren't guys doing, you know, hurricanranas like nothing. Like it wasn't even a special move. They're just doing them. They're doing crazy flips. They're doing, like, the talent level has so increased. And you know, not to say like Punk's flaws are going to show, but if he's wrestling every week, they're going to show.
Well, yeah, he's also like, I mean, yeah, he's used to wrestling guys like that, like in Ring of Honor, and I was going to say Ring of Honor. I was going to say
Impact. Yeah, 20 years ago.
Right, but that's my point though. Is like the thing that was like I was going to say is like WWE's like changed their look as much as like, I mean, despite their two champions are like big bruising heavyweights. How many guys on that both roster of shows are more like the CM Punk type? They're like 5'10", right. They're 200 pounds if you're lucky, and I'm not judging either way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Punk going there and Daniel Bryan going there, it really opened up that door to kind of show WWE that you don't need your prototypical, you know, Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Roman Reigns. Like, other guys can succeed. They can do well. Fans will fall in love with them, you know, just based on who they are, what their style is, those kind of things. And, you know, obviously the floodgates have opened within the past 5 or so years, where most of the talent that WWE brings in to their performance center classes are guys who wrestle on the indies, and they're names that people already know.
Well, so, they also,
yeah, definitely a changing of the mindset there.
Speaking of signing a person, do you hear they officially signed
Gable Steveson?
Yeah, and he can still wrestle. It's just a name, image, license thing right now. So he actually can go back to Minnesota and defend his title.
That's pretty cool.
So that maybe that's changing now with WWE.
Yeah, because that's definitely a new thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's only 21 too.
That almost feels like it fits in with the NCAA's new what they're allowing athletes to do. So that's probably why he's able to do this now.
And for the love of God, there's only one person that can train Gable Steveson. There's only one person in the world that can train him. In WWE, you should sign him as a trainer, like right this second.
Who is that?
Mr. Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah, yep.
Because hey, because he'll relate to him because they're both like gold medal wrestlers.
That's true.
Damn true. Yeah, dude, sorry. But
the lineage of professional wrestlers coming out of Minnesota, man. Very interesting.
Yeah, have Brock work with him, and I'm dead serious with that.
Brock worked with what's his face, the other guy that they signed, Parker Boudreaux.
Well, I'm mostly because he's the Minnesota wrestler. That's why.
Yeah, have Shelton Benjamin work with him.
Well, yeah, Shelton's a former coach.
Yep.
So have Shelton and Brock work with him, and I think I will bet money they would. Like, here's how you make your transition a lot faster from amateur wrestling to WWE. Like, I mean, this guy was drawing attention everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens even were offering him deals to play football for them.
Yeah, people saw the athleticism.
That backflip's amazing if you've never seen it.
I have not seen the backflip.
If you want to pull it up during the show, you're more than welcome to. I mean, do not put it on your computer for the love of God, because the Lord knows what's going to happen.
Who knows?
I could see, it's like, I was saying, Mary, is that smoke?
But and we'll resume part 2 of this podcast another time.
In about 6 weeks, because Mary Lee's like throwing her computer out the window. So yeah. So speaking of the NFL, I think we should talk about, because we got a game that's about to kick off about 2 seconds ago.
8:20? Is that when it kicked off?
It's supposed to.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Yeah, live in Raymond James Stadium, we've got the the reigning defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Dallas Cowboys, and they're doing the national anthem, I think, as we speak right now.
Yeah, I thought it was 8:25 for kickoff.
Well, yeah. Well, I think they're doing a whole fireworks show and all that. I have a couple of friends at this game, and it's really cool. They're you got really good seats. One's a Cowboys fan, and one's a Buccaneers fan. They both live in Tampa, but I mean, that seems nice, but holy crap, if it's hot down there, duh. And of course, there's Tom Brady, which he's still.
I got to check all my teams now.
I'm so happy I'm not doing a league this year.
It's stressful, man.
That's why I'm not
doing
one.
Anybody in this game? All right, I got Amari Cooper. Going for Dallas tonight in one league, and I
always chuckle when people have an offense, one of the offense players in there.
I got Zeke in another league, and I have. Don't do 3 leagues. Just don't.
That's it.
It's good advice. I refuse to do more than 3.
We should bring Shane Hallam on right now. He'd tell you 1 year, I think he did 50.
I couldn't do it. I can barely keep track of these 3. Yeah, okay. So I just have Zeke and I don't even remember who I told you before Zeke. Amari Cooper.
Yeah. That's it. That's not bad.
That's all I got going tonight.
That's not bad at all.
No one playing for the
I mean,
Bucks.
I
don't think.
If I could start the Bucks defense tonight, I probably would. Just because, I mean,
I don't think I have any for the Bucks.
So apparently Dak Prescott's they're showing a visual right now of he's got a lat strain in his shoulder, in his arm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So and it's supposed to be, it could linger all year. Yeah, so like I said, so you're coming off a broken ankle, dislocated ankle. You've got a lat strain right now that could last all year.
For Tampa.
And spoiler, you're playing against the defending world champions who brought back everyone. Do you know you want a fun fact about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now while we're talking about them?
What's a fun fact about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Tom Brady is their first quarterback they ever extended a contract on.
Wow. Holy cow.
Well, think how many bad quarterbacks they've had.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
or quarterbacks that got good elsewhere.
Never have extended any. Seems so interesting to me.
Well, I mean, seriously, look over their track record over the last since 75, how bad they were. You can understand why. Or they traded away a Hall of Fame quarterback. There's a guy that's played for every team under the sun too.
Yeah.
Mr. Vinny Testaverde is the one that played it all the time.
Did they have Jameis at one point?
Yes, they did.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the video delay on my laptop watching the game is actually about 3 seconds behind.
See, when I think of teams with bad quarterbacks, I always default to the Browns. So I completely forget that there are other teams out there that also have had a terrible history of quarterbacks. But I mean, Cleveland has started 25 different quarterbacks in the last 30 years. It's insane.
Since they came back.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I mean, they finally found the guy. I think Baker Mayfield is probably their longest tenured starting quarterback, and he's only in, year 5? And he's their longest tenured starting quarterback probably since, I don't know. How long did Tim Couch last?
You really want to know? He lasted 4 years.
So there you go, Baker. You just got to last 1 more year. He's got to last 1 more year.
He lasted 5 years. Sorry, since they came back. Okay, I actually have the list of all the quarterbacks that started games for them, except for Baker. Actually started 16 the last 2 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So since they came back, ready? Here's the list of quarterbacks.
Iron Man.
Yeah. So here's a list of quarterbacks that started for the Cleveland Browns since they've came back. Ready? Tim Couch, Ty Detmer, Doug Pederson. Yes, that Doug Pederson. Peterson, sorry. Whatever. Spurgeon Wynn, Kelly Holcomb, Jeff Garcia, Luke McCown, Trent
Did
Dilfer.
You say Luke McCown?
Yes.
They had Luke and Josh McCown?
They had Luke in 2004.
Wow. Okay. You said so Luke McCown, then Trent Dilfer?
Charlie Fry,
okay.
Derek Anderson, Brady Quinn, Ken Dorsey, Bruce Gradkowski. Are you writing these down?
I'm counting them.
Okay. Colt McCoy, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace, Brandon Whedon, Thad Lewis. You said Jason Campbell, didn't I? Oh, no, I didn't say Jason Campbell, Brian Hoyer, Johnny Manziel, Connor Shaw, Josh McCown, Johnny Manziel, Austin Davis, Cody Kessler, RG3, Kevin Hogan, Deshaun Kaiser, Baker Mayfield, Tyrod Taylor.
30.
Since 1999.
30.
Yeah.
In less than 30 years.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. Incredible how bad this team has been. But I give props to the Browns. They took the long, very long, excruciatingly long, slow, hard way back to being good by drafting well. Not always drafting well, clearly, as the quarterbacks tell us, but recently drafting well. Right. Finding a guy in Baker Mayfield who seems like he is good enough to be their guy. I'm actually really high on the Browns. I think they could win the division this year.
Oh, well, I think with all this shit that's going on in Baltimore, I don't blame you.
I don't buy the Steelers. I think Ben is done. I think they are going to be closer to what they look like at the end of last season than what they look like at the beginning.
So speaking of Baker Mayfield, he's the 8th most quarterback that started the 8th most games of Browns all time.
Insane. And he's been there for 4 years.
Yeah. This is his 4th year.
Oh, this is going to be his 4th year. So he's only had the opportunity to start 48 games.
Yeah, he's played 45.
And that's the 8th most. Well, he will almost undoubtedly, if he stays, he's not the greatest quarterback, but he's definitely among the upper echelon, I would say.
I wonder what they pay him.
I think he's good enough that he will, if he stays there, he will become the franchise leader in games started.
It sounds like Tampa Bay went 3-0, but then they coffin cornered the hell out of the Cowboys.
Look at that. Dallas's defense.
Which was amazing considering this is like a brand new defense. And Dak didn't die yet. And we got some points from Amari Cooper. He just had a nice little gain.
There we go. It's PPR league.
Oh, even better. So like I was saying, the game's going on right now. We'll keep you updated. I'll update everyone with the score if it happens. Since I have the luxury of watching it right now, on my laptop while we're doing our show, I don't trust Mary to do it for safety reasons.
I could put it on my television, but I'm currently watching the Phillies game, so that takes priority over the Cowboys.
I get it. So, I don't blame you. So like I said, so that's the game tonight, and then we got a few other games. We got 15 other games this year. Let's get with the worst game of the week. Let's get it out of the way right now. Speaking of AEW, the Jacksonville Jaguars go to Houston and play the Texans.
Yeah, that's called the Toilet Bowl.
The Toilet Bowl is better than this game.
I mean, honestly, this game will make the Jacksonville Jaguars look like contenders. That is how bad Houston is. That is how bad Houston will be.
That was like last year when they beat Indy week 1, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Jacksonville wins more than one game this year because they have the luxury of playing the Texans twice. So I think that they, they at least notch 2 W's on their schedule. But it's just astounding.
How
bad the Texans are going to be.
I mean, I really don't think the Jaguars are going to be much better. I mean, they got Trevor Lawrence, who he's never lost a regular season game.
That's going to change. Not in week 1, But it will change.
Yeah,
in his entire career. Yep.
College, high school, even never lost a regular season game.
That was like one of the NBA guys not that long ago. It was the same way. Had never lost a game, and then he came and he was part of the process years for the Sixers, and they think the losing mentally got to him because he wasn't used to it. And then he went, and the Sixers went like 12-70. So welcome to losing.
Yeah, seriously. Like, so yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's the gist of the game too. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be bad. Tyrod Taylor is starting for Houston. I mean, that team's, I would say they're rebuilding, but that probably doesn't do it justice in how badly they are rebuilding.
You can't even call it a rebuild. They literally have just cobbled together a roster of players and said, let's just get through this year, and then we'll figure out what the hell we want to do.
Well, the worst thing is, like, most of these guys they signed, like, all their alls are 1-year deals. They're gonna have to sign, like, they're gonna have to have, like,
because they're gonna start over. They're literally going to blow the whole thing up. They will take the first overall draft pick and blow the whole thing up.
The worst part we were talking about last night with the quarterbacks, they were like the top two quarterbacks in the draft class, and they played like crap over the weekend for college football. I mean,
well, this year's draft class, quarterback wise, is not nearly as vaunted as last year's was.
Well, the problem too is, like Shane and I were talking about last night, there was only 500 people eligible for the draft last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's like there was like 4th and 5th round picks in teams. Like I think the Bills even cut one. That were cut because the talent level was so bad.
Right.
And this year, you're gonna have undrafted guys that will make the team because the draft is so deep. It's got like 20. The number's over 2,100 eligible players. Do you know who loves it more than anyone?
Who is that?
Dwayne Johnson for the XFL.
That's true.
No,
that's not a bad. I mean, I know that's not the reason why he deferred to 2022, but it's
a happy little coincidence.
Yeah, it's looking smarter and smarter by the day because he is going to have a deep talent pool.
Yes. So yeah, and like I said, this game I don't care about. If I have to pick a winner, it's gonna be Jacksonville, just because I think Houston's gonna be. I don't think Houston wins a game this year.
If Houston wins a game, they win it simply because they get to play Jacksonville twice. So like, I could see those two teams splitting their season series.
And then going like both of them going like 1-15.
Yeah, something like that.
And they're in the same division.
1-16.
Yeah, thank you. So I mean, moving on to your favorite football team without a last name. So the Chargers go east and go to Washington, play the football team, and like this is an intriguing matchup because Washington's defense is pretty goddamn good.
This game, I think, is going to be a lot more 50-50 than what people are expecting.
I mean, then the Chargers are probably like the 5th best team in the NFL because of sheer talent level.
Yeah.
But I mean, they get hurt all the damn time for one reason or another, and who the hell knows if they can actually play together because they probably never have.
Well, the thing with the Chargers is the Chargers are going to be the Chargers. At some point in the season, they're going to start losing games that they shouldn't lose. But they're going to because that's what the Chargers do. It's not a Phillip Rivers thing. It is literally a Chargers thing. And it has carried with them from San Diego to Los Angeles. Is there potential to escape that? Always. But will that happen? I don't know. I mean, I'm not as high on Justin Herbert as a lot of people are. I just haven't felt like I've seen enough of him yet to sort of anoint him. Like I was reading something today where somebody said he could potentially be an MVP candidate. And
no.
I was like, I wouldn't go that far. Like he might be a top 10, top 8 quarterback, but
no, I mean,
not to say MVP. I mean, you're talking about you're playing in a conference with a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, not even just quarterbacks, but like there's a decent amount of running backs there that could challenge for MVP.
Yeah.
So no, Justin Herbert is not going to win the MVP.
And are we considering Lamar Jackson a running back? Because they might have to.
So, I mean, he's going to start at quarterback, but he will absolutely be running more than he's throwing.
Well, he did that last year, too. They run like 65%.
He did that last year, though, but he's going to do it this year out of necessity. I have not seen a team go through so much running back injuries literally a week before the season starts.
Yeah, they lost Justice Hill to a Achilles tendon rupture, and then like today lost Gus Edwards for the year to an ACL tear.
Yep. Well, they lost Dobbins first. Dobbins was supposed to be their starter.
They lost three running backs.
To be their backup. They lost Edwards. They literally. I don't even know who did. They signed Mark Ingram, right? Mark Ingram.
No. Le'Veon Bell. They signed.
Le'Veon Bell. That's it.
And he's on the practice squad right now.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen.
I mean, I have a friend that's a Ravens fan, and he's talking all sorts of trash about like how Le'Veon Bell's gonna have a resurgence. I'm like,
he might. I mean, anything is possible, but at this stage of his
he could also make a decent CD, but that's not gonna happen.
Running backs are less likely to have resurgences as they get into their 30s, which is where he is at.
Well, he's 29.
Going into his 30s.
Yes.
So like he's starting to get to the point of where the career is going to go downhill. He might have one good year left in him.
If you're lucky.
He did spend that whole year resting. So, technically speaking, he's a 29-year-old who is playing on a 28-year-old's body.
Sure. So yeah, so Washington Chargers, I'm going to give Washington an edge just because the Chargers are going east.
Yeah,
and that's a legit thing
on that one.
I don't blame you. I mean, like I know you have disdain for the Washington team just because you're an Eagles fan, but
it's not even so much that though. It's honestly Washington. I need to see what they do at quarterback before I
Fitzy.
venture into like. I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he might be a good first half guy. I don't think he can keep it up. The Fitz magic is not something that sustains itself over a 16, 17 game season.
Just as the Jets.
Yeah, it is caught in pockets. You find it in various spots.
He's tremendous for 5 games, and I don't mean that in a mean way. Like if you watch the first 5 games of that year when he took over the Bills starting quarterback, oh my God, he was an MVP.
Yeah, he was unstoppable.
I mean, he beat New England.
And he's done the same thing just
everywhere
that he's gone. That's the reason why he's gone to like 8 different teams. He's not a guy that's going to take you to the promised land.
But he's not Josh Johnson.
So, I don't know. Fitzpatrick versus Herbert.
I think
it should be a good game at the very least.
So let's see. Next game, Seattle and Indy.
Seattle.
I say Seattle just because I don't know how well Wentz is going to be.
Yeah, I also am not buying the Carson Wentz is going to suddenly turn into an MVP again.
Well, not even that. I think it's just the sheer fact that I don't think he's getting close to 100%. He's going to be playing.
He's still dealing with the foot injury. He is not that far removed from having COVID. Won't get the shot. Personal choice, but.
And on top of that, his offensive lineman, not Zach Martin, that's Dallas. What the hell's his name? He's the best player on the damn Colts team too.
Is he the one that's injured?
Quentin Nelson. Yeah, he's got the same injury as Wentz.
Yeah.
Both are gonna probably play Sunday, but like that foot injuries, it's gonna linger.
Yeah. It's gonna hamper both of them at the positions that they play. I don't think Wentz as much, but it's gonna be very hard for Nelson to come off the line.
Well, not even that. He'll get stepped on.
You're talking about protecting a guy who needs to be protected because he has a history of injuries. So, they got to keep Carson Wentz upright if they want to be able to do anything with him.
Well, let's go back to the worst game of the week again. Speaking of foot injuries, you see Travis Etienne's out for the year.
Yep. Right? Yeah, the Liz Frank.
That's that's a career-shortening injury for any position.
Oh yeah, and it's a damn shame.
It could be fatal for a running back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can't plant, you can't twist, you can't change your direction. Like it, even after the surgery, it's a bear.
Yeah, so we'll see what he ends up.
Yeah. I mean, they were playing him at receiver for science reasons.
That's what I was gonna say. I would suggest moving him to a different position.
But that's what they did though. It's like they moved him to like a slot receiver. It's like, and he was gonna be like the third down running back, but yet you first spent a first round pick on this guy.
Yeah.
I get they were teammates in college, but holy hell, that's just So moving on, like we got the Sam Darnold Bowl next.
the New York Sam Darnold Bowl.
The New York Jets against the Carolina Panthers.
Football, you're not even wearing a football shirt.
Oh yeah, we're wearing a hockey shirt. Get over it. And it's the greatest team of all time, and like Yes, I'm wearing a Buffalo Sabres shirt for everyone that's not watching. I'm wearing a Bills hat though backwards because I'm sweating like crazy in my room. Because I'm sure everyone wanted to hear that. Yeah, it's gonna be Carolina. The Jets. I mean, the Jets. I think I want to see how Zach Wilson plays. I'm not sold on him. Like
the Jets are going to be better, but they're not going to be.
They won
so
one game.
Better. That's the thing. It's not that hard to be better. Yeah, they're not going to be so much better that suddenly we're talking about like 6-7 wins. No.
Yeah, I'm saying they may win 3.
Because very tough schedule.
Not even tough.
Very tough AFC East.
Yeah, because they got to play the Bills twice, and the Bills will dissect them.
They got to play the Bills. They got to play the Dolphins, and
who knows?
Are they better than the Patriots? It's hard to say
right
now.
Yeah, I'd say that.
It depends on Mac Jones. Yeah, really, a lot of it depends on Mac Jones. What he's shown so far, I mean, there's got to be a reason why they opted to release Cam Newton. So they must really like what they've seen in this kid.
Well, I think Belichick said he fits more like what we like, and he was like, "That's his exact words what he said." So
yeah, which also makes sense that he wants somebody he can control.
Well, that and he's more of a Patriots guy. Like Cam's legitimately insane, like in a lot of ways. Like, and plus, I don't think that shoulder ever bounced back like he thought it would.
No, he wasn't the same player that back during the Superman days. He hasn't been that Cam in a while.
He hasn't been that Cam since.
Sad, but he's serviceable as a backup quarterback. Like, I guarantee you, if a team has a guy go down this year, Cam Newton will get a call.
Or the Bills will trade Mitch Trubisky. He looked
Cam Newton. I don't know.
Because he played well this preseason. I mean, I know it's preseason, but like he had like 200 yards against his Bears. Like, I mean, he had a little.
Right, but when you play well in preseason as it's quarterback, you're playing against number 2 defenses.
But Josh Allen didn't play till like the week 3.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So that meant that the guys that Trubisky was playing against were not necessarily other teams' first stringers.
Oh, it was Chicago's first stringers, and he was dissecting them. Which he might know a thing or two about how to play them, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, he would know his old team pretty well, and I think he would have motivation to be good against Chicago.
Speaking of playing good right now, Tom Brady is like dissecting the Cowboys on this drive.
Tom Brady.
I know, and it's the Dallas Cowboys.
40,000 years old, and yet still finding ways to be Tom Brady. That's incredible.
It helps you got like a really good offensive line and a really stacked receiver core.
Like it's really hard to hate the guy at this point because
no, I can still hate him.
He's very far removed from the cheating, and he's removed from the Patriots, which I think are. Yes, Tom Brady was on those teams, but you hate the Patriots for the cheating. You hate Bill Belichick as the coach.
I still don't like Brady.
See, but the thing with Tom Brady is you have to respect what he's been able to do. You have to respect the fact that the dude is in his mid-40s, late 40s, and he is still playing at a level that most quarterbacks cannot. He is still in the league when guys like Phillip Rivers, when guys like Drew Brees, when guys like Eli Manning, like he has survived all of these guys who started playing after him.
Well, the only thing I would say is the only difference between them and it's Brady had one bad injury.
True, but he stays healthy.
He also doesn't get hit. Like I would love to see. I want Dallas.
Yeah, he's had good offensive lines over his career. Turns out that's a thing that helps. Who knew?
Novel concept. Yeah,
who knew?
Only every coach since like 1935. So yeah, Carolina I think destroys the Jets because like that Jets defense is so bad.
Yeah, the defense is terrible.
I mean, they won't even pay their good players on their defense. I mean, you hear the bad luck the Jets had this year for like with injuries too.
No.
Carl Lawson they brought in, paid huge money, ruptures his Achilles tendon like first week of practice. Vinny Curry, guy near and dear to your heart, gets like a rare blood disease, out for the year.
Oof.
I think another guy was out for the year, and then they give like a 5th round pick to go to get Shaq Lawson out of Houston.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you have Shaq Lawson starting. I mean, like he's good. He's very serviceable. He's really good against the run, but pass rush.
We'll see. We'll find out.
And the safety they didn't trade, Marcus May, he's very good. There's no debate about that. But the Jets are like lowballing me, and he's like pissed off. It's like you're still lowballing your best defensive player right now, who's gonna be a free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah. I don't blame them. I mean, they're
that's
stalling
like,
on a lot of this, and I don't fully know why.
That's because they got awful ownership. And it's like the Johnsons are they're just awful people, and they're just lazy. And speaking of, I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. Speaking of defensive linemen or pass rushers, I finally got paid. Mr. TJ Watt got paid. If you didn't see, do you see the amount?
So deserved it. He has been living in his brother's shadow for too long. I think he has been better than JJ for at least the last couple years.
This is only his fourth year, but still, I think he's been better than JJ since coming into the league. He's been better than his brother.
Yeah.
Did you see the money he got?
I didn't see the number.
4 years, it's like $28 million a year.
That's a lot for defense.
It's the highest paid defensive player of all time.
Wow. Hey, and he deserves it.
And yeah, I think it was 4 years, 118 million, and he gets 80 of it guaranteed.
Yeah, that's
a lot of money.
But I mean, Pittsburgh, they're going to need their defense to be good for them to compete.
My concern though is like because he's playing the Bills this week. We're going to talk about the game in a second. A couple games away. I mean, the next game up is the Minnesota Vikings at the Cincinnati Bengals. I was talking to Vance Mink about this because he's a diehard Bengals fan, and I think he used to cover the Bengals for Rant with us. But he's like, I mean, I told him this might be the greatest track meet that no one sees. Because both teams have got actually really good receiver cores, and both teams have really bad secondaries. So you might see Kirk Cousins and the returning Joe Burrow go for 60 points each if their offensive lines can hold up.
I don't think you're going to see the Bengals and the Vikings score 60 points because even bad defenses, I mean, that's a stretch for two quarterbacks that are.
And they have really bad offensive, and they've got really bad offensive line.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow, I would love to see what he could do in a full year healthy. I do kind of buy high on this guy. But
I do too.
We have to see him full year healthy. He has a lot of great weapons this year. There's a lot of positive things to look forward to in Cincinnati. Kirk Cousins is the literal definition of average. He's not going to be bad. He's not going to be good. He's going to be average, and the Vikings will not win with average. Will they win this game? Potentially. I would say that I lean Minnesota in this one, but I don't want to count out the guy coming back from injury and seeing what he has to prove, what he feels like he has to prove. But I would shade Minnesota in this one, or fade Minnesota in this one. But yeah, I'm not going to go anywhere with Kirk Cousins.
I'm going to go Cincinnati just because it's in Cincinnati, and it's so close because, like I said, both teams are just like there. But like, I mean, the advantage is quarterback Burrow's better, even though he's coming off an ACL tear. I think he's light years ahead of Cousins. Like for the numbers he put up in those 8 games he played, he had like half his games were 300 games. Look at the receiver core last year. Look at the offensive line he had last year.
If he stays healthy, he's going to be a player in this league.
Absolutely, and I mean that's a huge ask, but it's the
Cousins
NFL.
Is just a guy. It's like why are you still employed as a starting quarterback? You're not like the Vikings
because Minnesota does not have a draft.
Oh, and that's the thing though. If they're trying to be competitive again, you move on from Kirk Cousins. He is not going to get you there.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of the other pieces in place, but Kirk Cousins is not going to get you there.
Not so much.
Yeah, like Dalvin Cook, great running back, really exciting player.
Justin Jefferson,
great receiver. Be nice if he had a better quarterback to throw to.
And Thielen, another great receiver.
Yeah, their team is not bad, but they are riding with Kirk Cousins, and I don't understand why. Because they're essentially one quarterback away. Could use some work on the defense as well, but offensively, one quarterback away.
Yeah, and they would have a pretty damn elite defense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next game's Arizona goes east and goes to Tennessee, which this should be interesting.
Tennessee's going to crush them.
I hope so.
They're going to crush them. I don't buy Arizona at all this year. I think Kyler Murray is a great quarterback.
But that defense is so old.
But yeah, the defense is old. The receivers are old. The running back situation is kind of up in the air. Yeah, I definitely. I think Tennessee is the most well-rounded team in that division. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to beat the Colts.
The Tennessee, it's Tennessee's division to lose.
Yeah, it is 100% their division to lose. They only got better in the offseason. I think bringing in Hunter Henry is going to be really big for them. Ryan Tannehill is kind of a guy like, for a long time, he was like a Kirk Cousins, but then, oh my gosh, that man left Miami, and who knew? Who knew what he was capable of?
Was it Adam Gase? Was it just him? I don't know.
He didn't have Adam Gase coaching him his whole career, though. So I don't entirely want to put it on Adam Gase. But when he was with the Dolphins, the Dolphins were a bad team.
Well, yeah, and the problem is and the biggest problem he had is and this is not just, again, not being me being a homer, he never won in Buffalo. He was 0-4 or 0-5, something like that in Buffalo. He really
didn't win in New England that much either.
He won more in New England than he did in Buffalo. But I think he won 2 games in New England, but I think he was 0-5 in Buffalo.
Oh well.
Every time they played, something stupid would go wrong.
Yeah.
The first offensive, they have a video of the replay. It's hilarious. Back-to-back weeks, he has an Mike, which I think it's Mike Pouncey was the one in Miami. I always, because they're twins, I can't tell them apart.
Yeah, I think it was Mike.
Yeah, Mike Pouncey was their center, and there's 2 videos back-to-back weeks. They oversnapped the ball. New England got a touchdown, Buffalo got a safety.
Yeah.
It's just something stupid would always happen, and it just following shit happening. And tie game, by the way, Dallas just scored.
To who?
CeeDee Lamb.
That doesn't sound like Amari Cooper.
That does not sound like Amari Cooper.
You sure you didn't read the name wrong?
I'm quite literate, Merrily. I got a degree in history. I can show you.
CeeDee Lamb's gonna have a good year.
I would hope so. Like I said, if Dak stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean he has the really good trio of wide receivers.
Oh yeah,
there is no reason why he should not put up numbers if he stays healthy.
But again, that's a big if right now.
Ezekiel Elliott is not the same guy that he was. I would not expect that the Cowboys are going to rely on the running game. They're going to rely on the passing game. That's where their biggest weapons are. That's where their best strengths are.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I agree. Tennessee will win, but and Arizona's, like I said, Arizona's just old. And I don't think they're that good. JJ Watt, so what?
Yeah, JJ Watt is far beyond the point where he's going to make a difference.
They brought AJ Green in. It's what are you trying to do?
AJ Green is the slightly younger Larry Fitzgerald.
And they still have Larry Fitzgerald on the team.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many receivers do you know actually have played for 18 seasons? I mean, we talk about Tom Brady's longevity. I mean, it's guess he got drafted in 2000, but Larry Fitzgerald was drafted in the 2003 draft.
It is incredible. And the thing is, too, he's managed to stay productive for a large part of that time, and he has been with the same team his entire career. And
I can guarantee he could have gotten more money elsewhere.
He could have gotten more money elsewhere. He could have gone a lot of different places, but he
could go anywhere.
Loved it in Arizona.
He's still. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't go to the Vikings ever, because he's from the area.
He will retire a Cardinal.
Well, I mean,
no question about it. I think this year is probably his last year. I think he's done.
I hope so. I don't
mean anywhere else.
I mean, and sincerely, I hope so, just because it's like.
I'd rather somebody retire someone on top before you get to the point where the decline is evident.
Or you have a 73-year-old wrestler becoming an NWA World Champion for the 11th time.
Listen, that would be the greatest thing. If NWA wants headlines, put your belt on Ric Flair. You will
somehow do it.
Any headlines that any other wrestling promotion, AEW, WWE, whatever, put the belt on Ric Flair. You will win the internet.
And you could actually do smoke and mirrors it too.
You could. Listen to me, Mr. Smashing Pumpkins front man.
Oh boy, here we go. So next game is San Fran goes to Detroit, and how badly does San Fran kill Detroit?
So I don't think the 49ers are even that good.
But Detroit,
that division is going to be so tough. With the exception of the Cardinals, I think all three of those teams have a chance at winning. Even the 49ers, which the only reason why I don't like them as much is because their uncertainty at quarterback. I think they're going to start with Jimmy Garoppolo, but you know that he's not going to, be there forever.
I think they
draft Trey Lance for nothing.
Yeah, but I think they give Trey Lance the year to study.
I don't know. If they're still in the race, I don't think that they would necessarily stick with Garoppolo if they feel like they have other opportunities there. But that aside, Detroit is so bad.
How bad are they?
Yeah, how bad are they? So I was thinking about this the other day. The Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford trade. So Sean McVay clearly hates Jared Goff. He clearly thinks that he's the worst human on the planet because he literally sent him to a terrible situation where a quarterback will never win. Matthew Stafford, I think, is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. I think he's incredible. His arm is incredible. He's a great passer. Throws a lot of interceptions, sure, but so did Brett Favre, and, he's one of the all-time greats. If Matthew Stafford had been given anything post-Calvin Johnson, literally anything, they did not invest in wide receivers. They did not invest in running backs.
They didn't invest, period.
They didn't invest. The people that they put on the field were just terrible. And, you wasted the best years of this guy's career. Because Matthew Stafford, he was, 2008? Right after the winless season. He was the prize for going 0 forever. And he could have been on playoff teams. I'm not even saying they had to win the Super Bowl. Just make the playoffs. They couldn't even make the playoffs. They made it, once? Or not at all? Once when he was there, I think.
You know how many playoff wins they've got in the Super Bowl era?
Yeah, I don't even want to know. There you go. Terrible. Matt Patricia
in 50
ruined that team.
Well, I mean,
the
team
was bad to begin with, but he was a terrible head coaching hire.
And I don't know if this coach is going to be either. I think they got Yernitry said it best. He's either going to be the greatest coach of all time, or he's going to be Tomaszula from San Fran, and no in between.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell.
But no, literally, Sean McVay hates this guy because he sent Jared Goff to Detroit, which is essentially like punishing him for being not his friend, and they got Matthew Stafford in return. Matthew Stafford to the Rams changes my outlook of the Rams dramatically. He is he's an upgrade over Jared Goff, and this might be the opportunity. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but the Rams are closer to getting back there with Matthew Stafford than they would have been with Jared Goff.
I mean, a lot of people are thinking it's going to be like the Rams in the next game we're going to talk about, and it's not because I'm a homer.
Rams Seattle is going to be interesting.
Yeah, but like I said,
that battle throughout the season.
So this is going to be the most watched game of the week. Well, that's of the day games, I'll say. The Pittsburgh Buffalo game, it's probably going to be the most. It's the national game of the week. It's like everywhere, but like LA and like.
Well, no, Fox or CBS. It's probably on CBS if it's
CBS. Yeah. Like it's almost it's in every network, which is amazing because this team. Thanks, Alexa. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. I even set that up. But anyway, Pittsburgh Buffalo. It's gonna be a great game to be at. It's gonna be a very quiet and somber crowd, as you can imagine, in Western New York. They had 65,000 for the Bills preseason game against Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about two teams that are
probably going opposite ways.
If we say I don't necessarily want to say that the Steelers are going anywhere right now. I think they're just kind of there.
Yeah,
they're not declining. They're not improving. Mike Tomlin is just running the band back together one more year. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger's decision to not retire really puts this team back because they could have done more and they probably would have done more. But loyalty is a big thing in the Steelers. It's a big thing with the
as long as you're a star.
Well, not even so much that, but
it is.
Look at the head coaches that they've had. They could have moved on from Mike Tomlin. They don't fire
coaches.
They don't fire coaches. So I think some of that, at least from his end, extends to Big Ben, where their careers essentially intertwine. like, I don't know if they were hired the same year, but they were certainly very close to being hired together. They found their success together. You know, those two guys have run it together. And, you know, Mike Tomlin is looking for, I think it's like his 15th year of going 500 or better. Will that happen? You know, they'll need a lot of pieces to fall into place. They'll need Najee Harris to be really good. They'll need Big Ben to, you know, be better than he was towards the end of last season, where he literally just had nothing left, and they'll really need to rely on their defense. It's possible.
But the problem, like the week one, the problem is they're fairly shallow because of Big Ben's deal.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, the Steelers do weird things. They win games they're not supposed to win. They lose games they're not supposed to lose. So, like, to say that they can't go 9-7 or 9-8, 8-1, you know, still counts, I guess, is going 500. I think that it would be foolish. It would be foolish to count out Big Ben and Mike Tomlin from that. You know, am I saying that they're gonna win the division? No, I'm high on the Browns. I think that this is the Browns' division to lose. You know, the Ravens, I think, are okay, but the fact that they have no running backs at the moment and apparently Lamar no cornerbacks is not that great of a, you know, he's a better runner than he is a passer. So I definitely think it's Cleveland's division to lose. But it would not surprise me if Pittsburgh found a way to hit that 500 mark.
Or above it, like you said, like 9-8. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but yeah, they can't finish 500 unless they tie a game.
Well, no, 8-1.
Yeah, unless you tie a game.
Theoretically, be 500.
Right.
Yeah, and ties can happen. They're rare, but they can happen.
But like I said, this game though, it's not maybe a home again. I think the Bills are just too deep.
Yeah, the Bills are going to win. That's not really a question. I think the Steelers will keep it close for the first half, but then I think the Bills will pull away.
I think the problem that the Steelers have is like they're starting, I think, 2 or 3 rookie linemen against a really revamped Bills defensive line, which includes, you know, Mr. Groot. If you haven't seen him yet, oh my God, we talked about him in the draft show with Steve, Kyle, and all that. But like, oh my God, this guy is. I mean, I saw him finally for the first time like 2 weeks ago. He's a gigantic tree amongst big boys. It's like seeing like what's his name from they used to play for Boston, Taco Fall, the center from Boston. Whereas like you're in the land of big men, and all of a sudden you see this guy that's 7'6". He's just like, I mean, and apparently he's got to move in his. I don't know if you've seen him. Like you should watch the highlights. I'm like his wingspan is incredible. I'm talking about Gregory Rousseau, the rookie, the first round pick for the Bills, the one actually I called. Like I think even before the draft, when we started the show. I wanted the Bills to take he's got an 83.5-inch wingspan.
Yeah, that's not small.
No, it's not. It's the largest wingspan. I think it's amongst, and he's a legit 6'7". And like he's like, I mean, the thing those Bills, they just rotate the defensive line the entire game, and it's like they kept 10 guys on their defensive line alone.
Keep guys fresh.
And that's one hell of a way to do it.
It is. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they kept,
because there's pros and cons to something like that. Like, you keep guys fresh, but are you getting them out of rhythm by taking them out? You know, there's certainly elements that maybe you don't do that with veterans, because veterans are very used to their sort of, you know, pattern. But for a rookie, they're new to this. If you set them up in this system, they're not going to be used to this way of thinking. They'd probably be more inclined to work with a younger player.
And they've got 3 guys that are like either a second-year player or a rookie player on their team.
Yeah, you do it with younger players. Line. Yeah, you don't do it with veterans.
Like it's just crazy to think that they've got like 3 defensive ends under 25 on this team, and they got a 34-year-old and a 33-year-old too. And it's just like, holy crap! This team could they're like one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl, which is just weird to hear.
Yeah, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. 4 years ago.
A lot of people were picking them.
It's going to be Kansas City and Tampa again.
Maybe.
No, it's going to be Kansas City and Tampa again. Kansas City they may not lose a game.
I guarantee they won't go undefeated. I can guarantee neither Kansas City nor Tampa Bay. No one will go undefeated this year.
20-0. Patrick Mahomes is calling it. 20-0.
I think he's a fool. I mean, that's like stupid to say just because, like,
He's
I mean,
optimistic.
week one, that's one word for it. I mean, he better hope he doesn't get. I mean, all's riding on their quarterbacks, and like, I mean, I'm sure that's for every team, but like, if you're calling for 20-0, I'm sorry. Week one, you've got the Cleveland Browns, and we're gonna talk about the game in this like a second. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not going to be easy, but I still think that the Chiefs, talent-wise, are head and shoulders above anything else that's in the league. Their defense is not that good. Their offense is that good. Like, you don't necessarily have to worry about your defense when your quarterback's going to give you 40 points a game.
theoretically. So yeah, so we both picked Buffalo for that game, and of course, your favorite game of the week. The Falcons are playing some team like from like southeast Pennsylvania. Do you know this? I forget who they're playing. Oh yeah, they're playing the Eagles.
Yeah, so here's an interesting thing. I'm not even saying this, as a homer. I honestly think the Eagles may surprise people this year. I think that a lot rides on Jalen Hurts, and it was very interesting that we did not see him in the preseason. He did not take a single snap. So
What'd you
are
think of
they?
that?
I don't know. I kind of, at one point I was like, what are they hiding? Like, what's going on? What are they hiding? But then he was in the hospital with some sort of, he was supposed to play game 3. He was in the hospital with some sort of infection.
Wasn't it like a skunk bug or something like that?
Yeah, like nothing uber serious, but enough that he couldn't play that day. There's some question marks, and because we saw this guy a little bit last year, and we saw a mixed bag. We saw 2 really good games, really impressive games, and we saw 2 below average games. So, what Jalen Hurts, can he play a full season? Do the Eagles even want him to play a full season? We have Gardner, we signed Gardner Minshew.
You traded for him.
Yeah, we traded for Gardner Minshew. So, like, we never wanted Deshaun Watson. Like, no, it was never about that. That was always a smokescreen so that we could get the guy that we wanted. We couldn't get Nick Foles, so we got the guy who took Nick Foles' job. But yeah, so like the Eagles situation is so interesting, and I think though the team is going to be better than a lot of people project. They're projected to get like 4 wins. I can see 6 or 7. Just based on the fact that defensively, I think their defense is going to be better than a lot of people expect. Their new defensive coordinator is getting a lot of praise. As compared to like Nick Sirianni, who people are ready to throw out the door already, calling him a temporary coach and all this. The defensive coordinator is somebody that people are, Jonathan Gannon, that they're looking at and they're like, there might be something here. Like, we're not saying he's the next Jimmy Johnson, but there might be something here. So I think their defense is going to be interesting. I think one of the crazier stories of the offseason, we talk about Aaron Rodgers, we talk about Russell Wilson and his situation, but the Zach Ertz Eagles story, I think is equally interesting because as he walked off the field in that last game last season, everybody was convinced he was gone. We knew Wentz was going. We're pretty sure Ertz was going. I went to one of their open practices and I saw him there. And, my mind's like, oh, it's probably the last time I'm going to see Zach Ertz in an Eagles uniform. The fact that I don't know.
How many stories were there of him linked to Buffalo?
How many stories were there him linked anywhere that wasn't Philadelphia? Like, he was as good as gone. And to go from that to him now saying, I want to retire an Eagle, like, something happened. The relationship was mended. As he said, he gave his press conference. He said that things were fixed or whatever. But like, there's something else going on there.
Did he realize he was getting like $12 million for this year?
Maybe that's part of it. He's like, I'm going to take my money. But what's interesting about the whole thing is prior to, so all this Zach Ertz chatter is going on. The Eagles hadn't made a decision one way or the other. They were in contract negotiations with Dallas Goedert to extend his contract. Dallas Goedert being the younger tight end, presumably the replacement for Zach Ertz. Yeah, guy we really like. So they're in this sort of thing with Zach, and they're doing this thing with Dallas, and then they decide to not trade Zach Ertz, which theoretically is going to cut into, Dallas Goedert's carries, his catches. He's still tight end number 1. I believe he's still going to be tight end number 1 on the depth chart. But, Zach Ertz is a guy who helped bring this team a Super Bowl. Like, he is beloved here, and the fact that he's staying here and he's saying all the right things right now is going to sort of play into things. And, they are currently no longer negotiating with Dallas Goedert. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. They could be waiting for the season to go. There's a lot of talk that he's probably going to get franchise tagged, but both him and Ertz are free agents at the end of the year. So it very much looks like the Eagles are going to play a performance-based game where the tight end that does better is probably the one that's going to get the contract. And it's ultimately going to backfire, I'm sure, because we're going to extend Zach Ertz, who is 30-something, and we're going to let the 26-year-old tight end go. And, he's not Travis Kelce, but he's pretty decent. So, there's definitely a lot of storylines going on with the Eagles. Of course, first-year head coach, technically first-year starting quarterback, first-year defensive coordinator. There's a lot of youth on this team. Second-year running back, first-year wide receiver, second-year wide receiver. There's a lot of youth going on. I don't buy the Falcons.
No,
I don't think Matt Ryan has not been the same quarterback since 28-3. He is not. That Super Bowl changed that team. And, he doesn't have Julio Jones anymore. Calvin Ridley is there. Calvin Ridley's probably going to be decent, but he doesn't have Julio Jones anymore. He's off in Tennessee. It's part of the reason why I think the Titans are going to be really good too. And the Eagles kind of have a thing with beating the Falcons. Whether we should beat them or not is beside the point.
And Kyle Pitts has not wowed me at all.
Is the game in Atlanta or is the game in Philly?
It's in Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta. So that's one thing on the Falcons side. Matt Ryan does not play well in his home city, which is interesting enough. He has never played well in Philly. So the Falcons do have that going for him. But yeah, Kyle Pitts has not. And it's preseason. It's all that you make the kind of conclusions that you can. But for somebody that they picked, fourth overall?
Yeah.
I would have expected a little bit more hype.
Well, I think he got the hype. He just doesn't live up to it.
But that's what I mean. You should have been hearing stories about how good this guy is. The way that,
the way he was playing at Florida.
Right, exactly.
Where he's like an alien and we just live amongst him because he's just supernatural in every way.
Yeah. I mean, and again, preseason, you can only glean so much from it. That will probably be a unspectacular game. I think it'll come down to, final score. It'll probably be a one-score game, but yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want to pick the Eagles because I'm not trying to be a homer or whatever, but do I think that they have a chance to win that game? Yes. I do not think that the Falcons are necessarily that much better.
I don't think they're really good at all, to be honest with you. Atlanta, that is.
They're probably the worst team not the worst team in that division, but
no.
Second worst.
But yeah, they're pretty bad, but
Matt Ryan's another guy who probably should have retired.
Yeah, I mean, just to save the team money, because I think he's got he's got a $46 million cap hit this year.
Yeah, it's big. Or at least going elsewhere. If he feels like, he needs a change of scenery, I mean, not everybody can be Tom Brady. Not everybody can play until they're 50. It's just remarkable seeing all these other guys that, retire before he does. But, not everybody is born that way, is born with those kind of genetics. And, Matt Ryan is a guy who's been in the league a long time, like a Joe Flacco. They kind of came in around the same time. And, Joe Flacco has embraced what his role is now, which is a backup quarterback. Well, I think that's, if Matt Ryan does not retire, I think that's what his future holds.
I mean, Joe Flacco,
or a quarterback on a worse team than Atlanta.
I mean, like I said, Joe Flacco just he got lucky that he got one of the greatest hot streaks ever in playoff football history, and made $120 million off of it.
Oh yeah. He was never as good as. The conversation around is Joe Flacco an elite quarterback? He was never as good as that small sample size made it look. But good for him. Good for him on being able to leverage that into a bunch of money.
I would definitely let him go to the Browns. There was rumors of it.
Interesting.
I think the talk was they were going to franchise tag him, and the Browns were to match it. And give up pick. I think it was pick 2.
Wow.
because they're that because it's Cleveland and they can't help themselves.
Hey, who knows? Maybe he would have turned their franchise around.
Or he would have just been like got knocked out by Kiko Alonso again.
Or he just would have been guy number 31.
He probably he would have been like guy 27, but still at the time. Yeah, I get your point. Next game is probably the most competitive game of the week in Cleveland and Cincinnati, the big rematch from the AFC divisional round.
Not Cleveland, Cincinnati.
That's gonna be Kansas City. I'm sorry if
I was gonna say I was like Cincinnati. We already talked about.
I use I use Cincinnati and Kansas City interchangeably.
Yeah, they're only like this far apart on the U.S. map.
They're close. They're close. It's on a globe. It's really close. Don't worry.
They're close.
But yeah, it's like Kansas City is like they're the team to be in the AFC. Cleveland's probably the third best team in the AFC, I would say.
I third or fourth. It like I'm kind of like between them and the Titans. Kind of like a 3A, 3B.
That's fine. And I said, the top, we'll say top four to cover with, because it goes like Kansas City, Buffalo, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is like all three of those can be used interchangeably. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Stop me if you heard this one. Tom Brady threw to Gronk.
See, I told people Gronk is gonna have a good year.
Should have still did well. He's just if he just didn't if he didn't wouldn't take that stupid bump at WrestleMania, he'd still be in WWE contract. Anyway, like I said, Kansas City, Cleveland.
He'll come back when he for real retires. So when Tom Brady retires, then Gronk will for real retire, and then he'll come back and do the wrestling thing again.
He'll apologize to Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
So like you said,
he'll be happy to have him back.
Yeah.
And then Gronk will bring Mojo with him.
Yeah. He'll be like the Paul Bearer to his Undertaker.
Yeah.
The big. Let's see what I was gonna say.
But Cleveland, Kansas City is gonna be a great game.
Yes, and that's like
that is the game for me that will tell us if Cleveland can stand up as one of the top teams. They don't have to beat Kansas City. They just have to play Kansas City close.
Well, it's like what they did last year in the AFC divisional round. It's like they should have won that game.
Yeah.
Like if they missed that if the refs don't miss a helmet.
Yeah, they probably do win that game.
And then they have to go to Buffalo, and maybe does Buffalo compete against Tampa Bay and do decent? I don't know. Like I honestly next year I do not know. But anyway, it's like I mean I see Kansas City winning, but I don't think it's gonna be by that much. I think it's gonna be like a one-score game.
I don't know if it's gonna be a one-score game because I don't think that Cleveland can shoot out Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to be close for a majority of the game, but I think towards the end, Baker's probably going to commit a turnover in a close, situation, and then Chiefs will come back down and score. So I think they probably win by 2.
My thought though is just the fact that like that Cleveland defense has gotten a lot better.
It has gotten better, but there's better and there's good enough to defend Patrick Mahomes the way that the Buccaneers did. I don't know if they're that good.
If they can rush up the middle, they got this. Like that's how Tampa Bay beat them.
I don't know entirely though, because you're talking about a guy.
It's a big ask though.
Patrick Mahomes knows what beat him. And he has competitive drive that if anybody would have gone out there and be like, you know what, I'm not going to let it beat me again. I'm not going to let the same scheme beat me again. Because otherwise, every team is going to try that. And I don't think he's a one-trick pony. I
hope not.
I still think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks to have ever played the game. And he's only been in the league for like 6 years. But if he continues to play 5 years, if he continues to play at the level that he has, he will etch his name on those history books when all is said and done. It's remarkable what he's been able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I can't say he's winning, but I think
it will be close. I wouldn't put money on that one.
No. Let's see. The next game we've got Green Bay versus New Orleans in Jacksonville.
That's right.
Because of Hurricane Ida.
The Packers will demolish the Saints.
Oh, come on. You don't think Jameis Winston's going to succeed?
I don't care who their quarterback is.
Yeah,
Aaron
they're not Drew
Rodgers he's a man on a mission.
He's going to play pissed off football.
Yeah, whatever that mission is, whether it's to show the Packers, what they are going to lose out on, whether it's to win one more, while he's still in Green Bay, whatever the case might be. He may even play better than he did last year. And he's got Randall Cobb back. And Randall Cobb is not a good wide receiver, but his best career years came in Green Bay. So you're talking about Cobb, you're talking about Davante Adams, you're talking about Aaron Jones, who is the best running back that they've had probably during the Rodgers era. I think Green Bay
hear who he was
really well.
Did you hear who he was pissed at? Did you hear who he was legitimately like the biggest name he was pissed off about that like the Green Bay let go? Jake Kumerow.
I don't even know who that is.
He's like the 6th receiver on the Bills right now.
Jeez.
He's also nicknamed Touchdown Jesus.
Oh.
Because he's like 6'5", he's got long flowing brown locks, he's got a beard. He looks like Jesus.
Can't think of that many touchdowns that he's caught, since the name doesn't sound familiar.
I think he only caught one for Buffalo. That's a get.
I meant in Green Bay.
I don't think he caught any. I think he was on their practice squad. I think he wanted to develop him and bring him up and whatnot, and just. And like I said, he made the Bills team. Like I said, with a stacked receiver core, he's the 6th receiver on it.
Of all the people for him to get upset about.
Yeah, that's what like. I mean, I think he was pissed off like all the people they let go over the years. It's like you're not doing this. You're not doing this. Why the hell not? Like he mentioned Micah Hyde, the safety for the Bills, is like you didn't even make him an offer, and yet he's now one of the best safeties in football.
You never know.
And they knew it too. It's like even when he was in Green Bay, he was a very, very good safety. It was just like, why aren't you making him an offer? Like Phil and I talked about this at length. It's like, I remember getting a text message from saying, "I hate you."
Hey, teams rarely do what we want them to do.
Because I mean, I get it if you make him an offer, he tells you no or go to hell. But like they didn't even they didn't even make him an offer. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, I agree. I think Green Bay destroys New Orleans because they're very old and they're just like they're so financially screwed. Like even next year, I think they are again.
And the Saints also play much better in the dome. So they're not. It's a home game for them, but they're not in the dome. So yeah, this will be a.
I wonder if they're even. I mean, I hope they play. I hope they get back to there for the Thanksgiving game. It's so I can go to the game. Otherwise. I think if
I think by November.
But that's a hell of a storm that went through New Orleans.
True. It just depends on the locale of where the damage is located.
It's
how quickly they can get roads back, in order to get people to the stadium.
I don't know if they can with how the city's laid out. I really don't.
We'll find out.
Yeah. So yeah, because I agree with you. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is going to try to go. Okay, I'm going to kick the shit out of you, New Orleans, and there's nothing you can do. You're going to lose your first game ever in Jacksonville.
Thank you, Tony Khan, for being so generous.
Well, I'm sure he's going to cut all the money. So
oh yeah, he ain't no dummy.
So here's a fun game: the Giants host the Denver Broncos.
That is going to be so much trash.
That's why
100% skip that game.
I don't know if you can see my face, but it's like really.
The Giants will win solely because
they have so much to play for.
Not even so much that, but they have more talent. So a healthy Saquon Barkley is worth a lot. And
absolutely.
He appears to be entering the season healthy. So there's definitely reason to be excited there. Daniel Jones does nothing to excite me, but then again, neither does anything that the Broncos have done at quarterback post Peyton Manning. Like that team has just found garbage after garbage after garbage to try to replace this guy.
Teddy Bridgewater might be the best quarterback they've had.
And now they're riding with Teddy Bridgewater. And it's not that I don't like Teddy Bridgewater. I do. I actually like him probably more than most.
He's above average.
But you're talking about like an aging Von Miller. Their defense is just in shambles right now.
I mean,
I don't think the
Surtain
Giants
draft,
are. I don't think the Giants
they're
are
a few
much
years
better,
away.
but the Giants are going to be good enough to win that game.
The only reason I say they got a lot to play for is because, I mean, like if they don't succeed this year, which I don't see them succeeding, it's just full disclosure, that so many people are going to lose their jobs in New York.
Probably.
I mean, head coach, general manager. I think not Teddy Bridgewater. I think Daniel Jones is done in New York. I think Saquon Barkley is done in New York.
I don't know if they would move on from him so quickly, but
I don't think he'll. I don't think
he'll want.
Well, I don't think he'll want to stay.
Oh, is his deal up?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's fit. I thought
he had one more year.
Either way, he won't be happy.
No, he won't be happy, but life is full of unhappiness. Like I hate this notion.
You live in Philly. I get that.
I hate this notion of the fact that players get to decide now that they're unhappy 1 year into a 5-year, 6-year deal, and then you move on from them. That's not just Carson Wentz, Ben Simmons, literally the same situation. Like, no.
I was bashing Ben Simmons more than Carson Wentz there.
We don't have to grant your demands. Like, I'm sorry. You signed this deal. Stick around. Be pissed off about it. We'll trade you if we want to trade you, not because you want to trade you. We sent Carson Wentz exactly where he wanted to go, and we got shit in return. I mean, we probably weren't going to get much in return anyway because he was literally being traded off of one of the worst seasons in NFL history for a starting quarterback.
I think he was like 34th out of 32 teams.
Trade value was not really high. But at the same time, we did not have to send him to Indianapolis. We could have fucking sent him to Chicago. Guess what? Your teammates with Nick Foles again. Have fun.
You could send him to Detroit before the trade.
Yeah, that is also true. There were other options out there, but we chose to play nice with a guy who we really did not have to play nice with. And
he got moody, bitchy, and
no, I'm sorry. I refuse to do the same thing with Ben Simmons. You set a precedent where what are you gonna have Bryce Harper asking out in 2 years? He signed a 13-year contract
with no outs.
With no outs. Don't be in the public and be like, yeah, I want out. I know I can't get out. I want out. No, stick it out. Be unhappy. Don't demand a trade. I hate when players demand a trade. If it's the last year of your deal, fine. J.J. Watt was like, I don't want to be in Houston anymore. Release me. And they're like, fine, we'll grant you your wish. Last year of your deal, whatever.
Well, he's also 400 years old, and he's a shell of what he was.
Also, he's not as important of a player. It wouldn't be like getting rid of Ben Simmons for nothing. If we can get what we want from him, if we can get that, then sure, trade him. But don't trade him for anything less than what you would have traded him under ideal circumstances. Don't care if he sits. Don't care if he takes a $1.3 million salary hit. Don't care. He can be miserable all season. I honestly don't care. The guy will not. I don't think we should trade him unless we get what we want for him. But that's just my take on that.
Yeah, it's and like I said, Denver's just Denver.
Yeah. I would love to see Teddy Bridgewater be good. I really would. That guy has been through so much. He has a great story. I would love to see him.
He's likable, yada yada yada.
Yeah, I don't think Denver's the situation for that to happen. And I mean, everybody's already pointing on that's where Aaron Rodgers is going to go. Anyway,
I think he's going to. I think he's going to Vegas. No sales tax.
Yeah, only after they fire John Gruden.
Yes.
That's another thing. You hire a coach for 10 years? 10 years for a head coach?
That's not even the worst part. He's got part stake in the team.
Oh, he's got part ownership, yeah.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, they literally gave that man whatever he wanted to come out of retirement. And I was like, okay, he's good, but he's not 100 million ownership stake good.
He's Las Vegas. He's the personification of Las Vegas. He's washed up.
Yeah.
It's a show it's great for 2 months and then falls to shit.
Yeah, and they're not going to get anywhere with Derek Carr. Derek Carr is another quarterback who is
they try to trade
average.
They try to trade for Khalil Mack.
Yeah,
you should never trade. You should. I mean, I get it. You could. What pisses me off is they didn't have. Mark Davis did not have physically the money, not cap space, the money to pay Khalil Mack.
You don't think they care about that?
But the point though is
he runs the organization like his father.
not Ralph Wilson does not run the team. Thank you very much. I'll tell you the story if you don't know that story in a second. But no, and he buys like a $14 million house in Lake Vegas.
That's a Davis for you.
Al would live in a shack. He wouldn't care. He'd live in the stadium.
That is true. At least Al, for as many bad decisions he made, he loved his Raiders.
And he would stick.
That much was evident.
He would live in the damn. He would live in the Coliseum. When they were in LA, he would live in the damn Coliseum if he had to.
Yeah, he would have done anything for that.
And the reason why I name dropped the former Bills owners because he actually owned a third of the team. During the AFL years when they're like, where's he getting this money from? Well, they legitimately did not know where like Al Davis is getting his money from. They thought it was the mob. They thought it was like loan sharks.
It may have been.
It actually was like a third of it was the Bills. Like the owners of the Bills was like, here's like 100,000. I think it was like $5 million. Just don't tell anyone. You're gonna be financially stable. We gotta preserve this league. So there's that. And so moving on, like another really good game could be potentially if Tua decides to get his head out of his ass is New England. And I'm saying it's Miami at New England. And I know Miami's had New England's number lately. At least like 1 or 2 games, but
I don't buy into the Tua hype. I'm not fully there on Mac Jones.
Greg the Leg just missed a 31-year-old field goal, in case you're wondering.
Greg the Leg.
Yeah, Zerline's a kicker for the Cowboys.
I think he was capable of missing 31-yard field goals.
I didn't. Did you say 31-year-old?
I did originally. I fixed it.
I'm proud of you. I didn't think he could miss anything like beyond 460. He's the leg.
Hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut. So even a not blind squirrel doesn't find a nut.
So yeah, we got Miami and New England, and like, I don't even want to. Honestly, it's not because I'm a Bills fan. I don't really want to watch this game.
I'll probably skip it. I have no interest in it. I don't even think I have any fantasy players involved.
I mean, Tua's gonna be. I don't know what he's gonna be like. I mean, the Dolphins, if it's true they were in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes for some ungodly reason, they didn't even. I mean, I don't know how much you read into it, but they didn't name Tua captain of their team.
Yikes.
Let's put it this way: Ryan Fitzpatrick was their captain last year.
Yeah. No, you definitely read into that, especially as a quarterback.
Because the players select the captains.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, as much as I don't like him, I have to listen to him on the way home because he's the only thing between like conservative talk radio and this, and so I have to listen to Colin Cowherd. He's like, it's like Jamar Connor Cook.
The name sounds familiar.
Michigan State quarterback and went to the Raiders. Played in the playoff game. He was a 3-year starter at Michigan State. He was never named captain. Something's wrong there.
Yeah. Yeah, your quarterback is almost always your offensive captain.
It should be. I mean, Josh Allen's definitely the captain in Buffalo. I think they have. I think it's 8 captains the Bills do this year.
Yeah, I think you can have as many as you want.
Yeah, have 53 would be good for the pitcher.
Hold on. Left on the schedule.
The Bears at the Rams. Okay, listen, everyone. Andy Dalton's starting because they don't want Justin Fields to die because the game's too slow for him. And if you take me seriously right now,
Andy Dalton's starting because
oh boy, Ronald Jones fumbled the ball and Dallas recovered it. The Tampa Bay 27.
Oh, she's getting real.
Yeah, they are.
But anyway,
sorry.
Andy Dalton is starting because the Chicago Bears don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No, I wouldn't start Justin Fields against the Rams defense. I really wouldn't, not yet.
No, but they need to start him sooner rather than later. Andy Dalton is not the solution. Like you are literally just hiding behind.
I think they don't want Justin Fields. I mean, especially after that when he said that shit.
Yeah, that probably didn't help.
Well, and then the next week, did you see what happened in the Bills Bears game?
No, I didn't.
You should just YouTube Andre Smith, or just I said you probably could YouTube you could YouTube let's just say Justin Fields Buffalo Bills. Or yeah, just type in like Justin Fields hit.
Yeah, the Rams are gonna win.
Yes.
I said I'm very high on the Matthew Stafford Rams. I think they have the potential to do some big things in the NFC. You're talking the Rams, you're talking the Packers, you're talking the Buccaneers, you're talking the Seahawks are probably your top 4 in no particular order. But that is going to one of those 4 teams is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Yes. Let's see, where is that pain in my ass as a host's Facebook profile? Sorry, did I say that out loud? Yeah, I'm trying to send it to you right now, but yeah, it's like I said, they're just doing it to be a sacrificial lamb. Like they want Dalton to die so they can just start him.
Hey, he lasted what, like 2 weeks in Dallas last year?
Yeah,
before he died, and maybe not even.
I think the first week after Dak got hurt. I think the next week.
So I was wondering if it was that week or the following week.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's the following week. Yeah. So I digress. Like, yeah, I get it. You got Justin Fields, but it's like, don't say the game's slowing down for you already. You played one game against third string players.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you say that.
That was not a smart thing for him to say.
I mean, at least two had said it during the regular season. But yeah, it's the Rams, and it's not just because it's in LA. Although it'd be cool to see SoFi Stadium like actually packed for the first time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this will be the first.
I think ever. I think first anything besides preseason.
Oh, they haven't even had concerts there or anything?
Taylor Swift was supposed to be there the first thing, but something happened last year that I don't know about. Anyway, like I digress. So in the last game of the week is Baltimore at Las Vegas, and my nephew looks like my youngest nephew looks the smartest kid in the room. Because I don't know if you saw my Facebook post from like a few days ago. I did like the weekly pool bracket thing.
No, I didn't see it.
And like a lot of my friends posted their things, and then all of a sudden everyone posted their things, and 5 minutes later, my sister-in-law texted me, here's Caden's picks. It was like, and how much he wants to know how much was the pool.
Oh.
At 11 years old, I'm like, oh God, you're Delphi. Stop now. Like you've been hanging out. You're my favorite nephew, but you've been hanging out with me too much. He wanted to know. Like, he wanted me to explain like sports betting to him. I'm like, not yet. You're 11. Don't run off school like an office pool at work or at school rather. You're 11.
Give it a couple more years.
I know. He's probably gonna ask me questions when he comes visits in like a couple weeks. But yeah, Las Vegas at Baltimore. Originally, I would pick Baltimore until about today, losing their third running back.
I still can't believe that's the Monday night game.
I'm surprised there's only one.
Yeah, normally they open with 2.
Yeah, they have one East Coast game, one West Coast game. And the other thing too is the other kick in the ass is they also lost what's his name, Jimmy Smith. Their number one, not Jimmy Smith. Their number one cornerback. They lost for the year too. They two guys tore their ACLs today in practice, and they just went we're done.
No.
Yeah, it's been like cuckoo bananas. It's like
that is brutal.
Yeah, especially when they're guys that's supposed to start. Like Gus Edwards was like, yeah, I'm gonna embrace this role, yada yada yada.
And then he got injured. Yeah, that sucks.
Touchdown. Good news, you get okay. Here's one for you. I don't know how this works for fantasy football. Dak Prescott fumbles at the 5, recovers his own he recovers his own fumble and threw a touchdown pass to Amari Cooper.
Okay, so all that matters there is I get the points for the touchdown pass.
Yeah, that's all right. It's just funny, and he missed the extra point. Oh my God!
Break the leg.
Yeah, he's missed an extra point. They're gonna cut him.
That pitcher's getting cut.
Yeah, he's gonna get cut deep.
It's done.
Yeah.
Damn. Dallas has had ever since they got rid of long time kicker.
Bailey?
Yeah, ever since they got rid of Dan Bailey, they have struggled to find a kicker.
And yet he wasn't that bad.
No, Dan Bailey was great. Dan Bailey was one of the most consistent kickers in the NFL.
Like in NFL history.
Yeah, like he wasn't necessarily hitting like 60-yard bombs, but he was consistently making 30, 40-yard field goals. Yeah,
and now look at him. So like I said, so Vegas, Baltimore. I kind of want to go Vegas. It's in Vegas. It's in the big crock pot in the desert.
I hate everything about both of those teams right now.
Oh, so do I. But I think I just picked Dallas. I'm sorry, Las Vegas because they're the healthier team.
Yeah, I mean, I still think I'm gonna lean Baltimore, just because I think against Vegas, Lamar's not gonna be able to do it against every team. I think Lamar will be enough against Vegas.
But what's crazy though is like, did you see that they also gave their speaking of crazy contracts? Do you see the tight end, Mark Andrews? They gave like 15 million or 14 million a year to.
He had like one good year, and then they
it was his
paid
rookie
him.
year.
Yeah.
And you got a quarterback that doesn't throw the ball.
So who knows? I mean, now that he doesn't have a running back, he can maybe Mark Andrews can
Be fullback.
design run. Yeah, put him in as fullback.
I mean, not for nothing.
It wouldn't be the craziest idea.
Right, and it's like it's like, what the hell? I mean, I with all stuff going on, like with like Josh Allen's contract, it's like, what are you gonna pay Lamar? What are you gonna pay Baker? It's like Lamar's gonna ask for more money because I was an MVP. Josh wasn't.
Lamar's gonna get more money. Baker's gonna get more money because such is the way that this league works. Where you are the highest paid player until the next highest paid player.
I hope they give him like 60 million a year. I really do.
I mean, a lot of it's going to depend on what he does this year.
I just mean, I hope so they bankrupt the cap. Because okay, you gave it to a guy. You gave a 60 million. You gave like, let's say $45 million a year to a glorified running back who can't beat Buffalo. Even when he does beat Buffalo, it's like, sure. Oh, okay. Like I hate they use like TB and for Tampa Bay during football games because I think touchback when I see kickoffs.
Tom Brady, TB.
That too.
The Tampa Bay.
I will, or Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Tampa Bay, Champa Bay. Hey, I mean, it's hard to argue it. But rarely the Bucks won, the Lightning won, the Rays went to the World Series. Like,
oh, I know.
That city did pretty good for themselves. If they had a basketball team, and technically at one point they had a team that was playing in Tampa Bay, but if they had their own basketball team, they probably would have gone to the NBA Finals.
Sure.
Not Aaron Rodgers' team.
But yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm just like, what the hell? Like, it's, yeah, that's I mean, that's the week one games. Like, it's like, I will laugh if Dallas loses this game by a point. Like if the final score is like 28-27, it's like,
well, they're down 4 now on the plus minus because
Mr. Terrific got picked off by Tavon Diggs. Tom Brady got picked off there at the 21-yard line.
That's Steph's brother, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they related? Yeah.
Yeah, they're brothers.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, that's why I said it's because like, yeah, it's like, so right now Dallas is at the 17-yard line of Tampa Bay already. If Dallas wins this game, one, I won't hear it from the end of it from my coworkers tomorrow.
Dallas is not gonna win. Tom Brady started slow last year too.
Well, because he's 800 years old.
He'll be fine.
He's got lubricated joints, but like Mr. Like, they had a prop bet for them for this year for like going undefeated. It was like 200 to 1. I'm like, that's it. It's like I would put $10 on that.
Yeah, I know somebody that bet him as MVP at plus 1,400.
I mean, for that much, I do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not bad odds.
I mean, I put like 10. I put $10 on, and I just could get $140 absolutely if I could. It's like, yeah, it's like the big four. Like, I mean, even like Mahomes and Allen, or Allen too, but like Mahomes and Rodgers, they're getting decent odds, but it's like plus 1,400 for Brady. Sure.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst that happens? He goes like, "Hey, I'm gonna kick all your asses," and like, "Hey, we're gonna do this." But like I said, that's about it. Like, yeah, I think we covered every game. We experienced our technical difficulties as usual.
Longer than usual.
Like, yeah, that's an understatement. What else? Yeah, we got through the game. Like, we're still watching the game. I think you're still probably watching the Phillies game, which is okay.
Yeah, Not so much.
Are
They
they
were
losing?
winning. They were winning, and 2 outs in the 9th, and this dumb bitch gave up a 2-run home run. So now we're down 3-2.
The best thing ever though was like on Labor Day, I was watching the Rays what the hell's game? Rays Red Sox game, and they were stressing the run differential between the two teams.
Mm.
Like the Boston Red Sox are like minus 26 in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
And the Rays are like plus 46.
Oh yeah, Tampa Bay is insane 7 inning beyond.
And then the guy in I forgot who it was hits it inside the park home run because the guy center field couldn't judge the ball right off the
Yep.
off
Nelson
the wall.
Cruz.
Yeah, I saw him like it was Nelson Cruz. It was
Little League home run as they called him.
Yeah, because he didn't see the third baseman because the third baseman coach was right by home plate. He couldn't see him tell him stop. So he just kept going. I think it was like Spalding or Springer. It started SP. I can't think of it. But either way, he couldn't see his third base coach tell him to stop. He just ran and he got home. Because what's the left fielder and right fielder for the Red Sox just stood there.
Yeah, it was odd.
Yeah, it was like I told my buddy at the work the next day who was a diehard Red Sox, I'm like, they should hire Manny Ramirez right now. He's like, why, for hitting? I'm like, no, because he's the best player ever to play off the Green Monster.
Yeah.
Like he knew the angles.
He had a knack for it.
Like he would go, okay, great. You got a base hit, right? Turn it a double, I dare you. Go right ahead. I don't know about you, you're dead to rights at home. But other than that, good show, entertaining show. I'll let you watch your baseball game, and I'll probably go downstairs watch the football game for like another 10 minutes and try to go to bed at a reasonable time and be up at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go. If you're gonna be up at 3 in the morning, get watch some sleep.
I can sleep Sunday into Monday because I'll be up at 6 o'clock on Sunday for the Bills game.
Oh, there you go. 6 o'clock. You get to sleep in.
Anyway, good show. We'll do a show probably next week, provided nothing else. No other hurricanes hit your damn city.
No other hurricanes or power outages or who knows what awaits next week.
Seriously, I mean, it's Philadelphia. All jokes aside, I live, it's safe and sound and all that stuff. And
yes, appreciate it.
And we will talk soon.